Vildhjarta with MASSTADEN. Yeah, not much that can really be said about this one. This was meant to be the big djent release for the latter part of 2011, kind of the last great one before the year decides to sign off and bid us farewell. It's supposed to be a band. This is a band from Europe that includes progressive stylings along with the typical djent stylings. But here's the thing. The problem that I have with djent from the start is that a lot of it does sound eerily similar. Now, it's going to be a problem that a lot of people have with it, but maybe that's just because I'm old. Whatever it might be. This is a band that decided to take a different route. However, they decided they were going to do a concept album. An ambitious idea for what would be considered to be their second release or their debut release, all depending on, how you're feeling that particular afternoon. An EP release that was that preceded this, and this is their first full length. Beautiful album artwork. Century Media backs them. But whenever you listen to the album, it's djent. How different is it? There are some bands out there that are able to do the genre very well, don't get me wrong. There are a couple bands out there that really kind of take the idea and incorporate it into their music in a very small dosage to kind of give a subtle homage to the bands that really kind of paved the way for the subgenre, the micro-genre, whatever you wish to call it, to really exist. And that's bands such as Born of Osiris that incorporate it only in very minute trace amounts. Hawkins kind of the same way. And then you get to bands like Tesseract and Periphery that are really not for everybody bands. Funny thing about djent is actually the fact that it's a big booming subgenre, especially amongst internet music nerds, but at the same time, many common Joes have absolutely no fucking clue what djent is whatsoever. So, yeah. It's kind of a weird little dynamic how that's happening. So anyways, on to this album. This is an album that really is nothing all that special. Something where whenever you listen to it, I've heard djent before, and this is just like listening to those djent albums in the past, and they didn't do much for me. There is a lot of great chaotic structure, which makes absolutely no sense. It's a complete oxymoron, but it makes sense, believe me. There's chaotic structure to this, where you're getting a very technical dose of metal, but at the same time, it's something where the chaos is not being coupled with anything that's really being, I guess, almost considered to be as a cool down, either that or a yin to the yang, so to speak. Everything is just one particular format. It's just absolute insanity. And it's being done in different time signatures. There's random changes going on, and the djent style is very easy and very simple to kind of point out. And it's just that tinny kind of noise that you hear with the bass and the guitar. And it's just ridiculous that a subgenre has kind of been based around that. But djent is becoming like metalcore. Oversaturated, overpopulated, overshitty. This is an album that I don't consider to be all that great. I don't consider it to be worth all of the hype that it was receiving. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm going to be perfectly blunt. The one thing that they need to do a lot more, and that's just my personal opinion. This doesn't mean that they should go out there and change their sound. But if you want to really grab more listeners, if you really want to have a lot more people kind of check you out, and not just be labeled as just a djenty band, or actually have the progressive djent banner really ride high and ride free, utilize those clean vocals a lot more. These are probably some of the most beautiful moments of the album, and it's definitely something that's worth reiterating, especially on the last track, The Lone Deranger. There are some moments on this album where it's incorporated, and when the music is able to get a little bit more harmonious, as opposed to just focusing in on that chaos, completely and totally. There's another track on here where they use a little bit more in the way of a clean flowing harmony and everything like that, and that's just great. It's a break from the insanity. It's a break from hearing the same monotonous thing over and over and over again. It's the one thing that these bands are dreadfully known for, and I cannot stress this enough. There's a lot of overuse of the same goddamn idea, just kind of tinkered with a little bit, as though they centralize this idea and then they just decide, well, I'll just do this time and that this other time, and djent. Sick of it. Maybe it's because I'm old. Maybe it's because I should be, considering old age things like trifocals, anti-senility medication, canes, walkers, diapers, whatever the fuck it might be. But I don't see the hype. I don't see the reason. I don't see the point. To me, this is just another band that has gotten on the radar and should quickly fall off of the radar. And that's all I have to say about it. 6.5 to 7 out of 10. This is maybe one of the bands that does djent a little bit better than some of the other members of the djentiverse. But nothing all that special to begin with either. The album cover is the best part, and that's not saying much because many people will be thinking they're getting the next great Insomnium record. Yikes.